Hello everyone, I'm Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Equine Sanctuary. Welcome to this episode of Royals at the Ranch, the series where we talk about the behavior, temperament, and training of Python Regis. This is Royals at the Ranch for Thursday, September 9th, 2021. And I know in last week's episode, I told you this week we were going to talk about this. In next week's episode, we're going to catch up with Amunet and Amunet again. Are you tired of hearing about them yet? I'm going to go over the next 13 months that they were here. So we're going to skip forward from where we left them off to 13 months ahead. I'm going to go over my conclusions based on just these two individuals. I'm also going to go over how Royals compare to other Pythons. And we're going to have a training talk that continues from the last training talk, where we talked about what the first step in target training was. And then, of course, we'll have our Royals in Your Homes segment. However, because of some unforeseen and miraculous circumstances, i.e., Amunet decided that she wanted to come out and be extremely adventurous and ambitious one night in one of our exercise rooms, I went ahead and filmed that. So it was very impromptu. It wasn't planned. She wanted out of her enclosure. And since she was one of our first two Royals at the ranch, and you haven't gotten to see very much of her because she is a little bit shy, I thought I would take that opportunity to film her coming out of her enclosure and film some of the activities that I do with her when she does come out. And so it's very informal. And I wasn't prepared to film, so I do a little intro, and I'm all sweaty because I've been working with the animals and cleaning animal enclosures, and not just snakes, but the dogs and the horse stalls too. And I have a big wad of gauze in my ear because I had ear surgery last week, and this is actually sutured into my ear. And hopefully that is coming out tomorrow, but I wanted to explain that because it's really obvious in the intro that I do for Amunet's little adventure outside of her enclosure. I think it's worthwhile for you to watch that because it goes over a lot of the guided learning that I take the snakes through when they give me the opportunity. In other words, it was not a planned training session. It's just something that happened. Because of her behavior, I modified my behavior, and we had a guided learning session where she was out in one of the exercise rooms. So I hope you enjoy this. And next week, we'll get back to our more formal and regular episodes. This is the moon considering whether she's going to actually come out of her enclosure or not. She does this quite a bit. She comes to the door a lot. I open the door a lot. And usually she is sitting in that little cave, or she's up on her branch, and she just does this. She looks out the door and she does a lot of approach and retreat, but she doesn't actually come out. Now, I don't know if the fact that she actually comes out tonight has anything to do with Sarek being out and about, but Sarek was out playing on that exercise tent, whatever you want to call the behavior. I call it playing. He's just aimlessly roaming around the exercise tent and in and out of it. And that may have had something to do with what made Amunet more curious, and it may have made her come out. Here she is actually coming out of her enclosure, but it was so funny. She went back inside her enclosure and went behind her rock cave and got up on her branch. And then she climbed over her branch to come back down and climb out of her enclosure. And she always climbs down onto the rack that this enclosure is sitting on. There's a small ridge there. It creates a little ledge that's maybe an inch or an inch and a half wide. And she always climbs down onto that first. And then from there, she heads off to wherever she's going to roam around in the room. She doesn't do this very often. Hello everyone, today is Sunday, September 5th, 2021, and Amunet, one of our original Royal Pythons, has decided to be exceptionally outgoing for some reason this evening. She came to the door and wanted out of her enclosure. I let her out and she's cruising all over the room, so I'm taking this opportunity to clean out her enclosure while she's not in it. and also just let her roam around and acclimate to some items that I would like her to passively habituate to, as opposed to me actively habituating her to them. And I will show you what I mean. So this is just a box of latex gloves and a snake hook. And I seldom use a snake hook. I don't use one to take them out of their enclosures because I teach them to come out via a target, or they're fine with me handling them. But I want them to be used to a snake hook in case I need to use one for an emergency, like if they get somewhere where I can't reach them and I need to get them out, or if something happens to me and they go to somebody else who routinely uses one, I want them to be used to it. And then the other thing is these latex gloves. It's something that they may encounter a veterinarian wearing, or a veterinary assistant, technician, or even a veterinary receptionist wearing. They may encounter me wearing them if I have to treat them for something. And so I've just set the box out here on this day bed that I'm letting her climb around on, as well as the snake hook. And this way she's able to investigate these items on her own as she pleases. She can see what they smell like and she can see what they feel like. And it's on her terms. She's not being forced to interact with these items. She can investigate them or not. And she's really more interested in getting down on the floor. She's already been down on the floor several times, and I've picked her back up and put her up here because I don't want her on the floor tonight. I have to go out and feed horses, so she's not going to be able to stay out indefinitely in this room and roam around this evening. It's also an unusual opportunity to show you Amun and Amunet. They don't come out very often, so when I do get an opportunity to do some filming with them out of their enclosures, I like to take that opportunity and get some footage. So Amunet, it's funny because she seems shy in respect that she doesn't ask to come out very often at all. And there are many, many times when she's at the door and I open it and she just does not come out. She just sits at the open door. And then there are the occasional nights like this where she wants out emphatically. She comes out and she is just extremely active, cruising all over the place. And you might think that means that she wants to eat, and it may mean that. She ate 9 days ago, and I do behavior-based feeding with them. So there are occasions where I feed them meals very close together, and then there are other occasions where they may go weeks or even a couple of months without eating a meal. So some of her activity level tonight might be because she is hungry and she's trying to increase her opportunity to encounter prey. And then some of it may just be that she's getting older. She's turning 2 years old, so she might just be getting more confident and more willing to come out and explore, or more eager to just come out and explore. It also could be that I have a couple of royal pythons that are new. It's no longer just her and Amun. And Sarek is extremely outgoing, and he is out a lot. In fact, he was out for more than 12 hours today, both in this room and in my office with me. And it may be that she is smelling him, that she's watching him, and that she's curious about him and his scents. So for whatever reason, she wanted to come out tonight, and I wanted to take this opportunity to get some footage of her and show you what she looks like, because I know you've seen lots of pictures of her and not very much video. So this is an actual video taken on September 5th, 2021. So happy Labor Day weekend. I also really wanted to show you how I passively habituate them to items that I don't want them to be afraid of. And you could do this with any item. You could do this with a restraint tube. You could do this with a scale. You could do this with literally anything that you want your snake to get used to and that you don't want them to be afraid of in case of an emergency. And so I just randomly will set items like this out, tools that they might encounter, even if not from my use. They may encounter these things if they are with someone else, or they're at the veterinarian, or there's an emergency. And so I very much want them to be used to them. I don't want the snake hook or things like latex gloves or scales or restraint tubes to be things that they're afraid of. if those things have to be used with one of my snakes, I want them to be used to it so that it doesn't cause them fear, anxiety, and distress.
In case you missed this information, when I first introduced everyone to Amun and Amunet, when we started the Worlds at the Ranch series, here are her vital statistics. Her name is Amunet, and it is an Egyptian name. She was hatched on September 12th, 2019. She arrived here at the ranch on March 24th, 2020. She is a female Python Regis. Her color is piebald. Last time I weighed her, she was 420 grams. Her favorite foods are rats and mice. She was produced by Keith Basilico at Disturbed Reptiles, and her temperament is what I would call reserved. However, she is outgoing when she chooses, and when she is out and about adventuring, she's pretty darn resilient. This video is demonstrating comfortable and relaxed body language from Amunet. This is body language that you would see from your snakes if they are in the green zone and they're not being stretched outside of their comfort zone. They're certainly not experiencing fear, anxiety, and distress at all. This is comfortable roaming behavior for her, just relaxed exploration.
And the body language that you're seeing from her right now is comfortable and relaxed. She's choosing her own path, and she's choosing to climb on these items. She's choosing to explore and move across this area. You'll often see snakes interact with glass or other clear barriers in the manner that she's doing now. I believe it's because they don't understand what the transparent barriers are. They can obviously feel that there's a barrier there, but they can't visually perceive that. So to them, it looks like they can just keep going forward, and they can't because they're physically running into a barrier. So you'll often see them surfing it and kind of moving more quickly, trying to find a route around it or a way through it. And she didn't do that for very long, and she's decided that she's going to just go behind the telephone and onto this ledge.
I hope that you guys are enjoying this so far and that you're getting something out of watching Amunet and her explorations and adventures. I hope it's educational for you, and it's something that might be able to help you with your own snakes. But I'm going to have to end it right here and call that part 1, because she was out for about an hour and I got a lot of footage. So we can do a part 2. I'd like to know what you would like to see next time because I have several videos in the works. So let me know in the comments if you want to see the content that I had originally planned for this week, which is an update on how Amun and Amunet were doing after 13 months of being here, how I believe royals compared to other python species, a continuation of our training talk, and of course royals in your home, or if you would like an update on Fulcrum, because I have another video ready to go about Fulcrum. The first video you saw about Fulcrum was him in quarantine, and the next video that I have ready is about his trip to the vet and how that went. Or we can do part 2 of A Night in the Life of Amunet. So comment below, let me know which video you would like to see next. Eventually you will get to see all 3. And while you're thinking about that, let's see some royals in your homes. I always love that segment. I love seeing pictures of royal pythons in your homes, and feel free to email me or send me photos and short video clips of your royals via Facebook or Instagram Messenger, although it is easier for me to get those off of email or Facebook. I've been successful getting a few off of Instagram. Before we go, I want to remind you about some of the resources that I always refer to when I'm doing training talks, when I'm talking about behavior and cooperative care and welfare science in general. These are books and one website that I refer to constantly. And if you wanted to check these resources out for yourself, I would encourage you to do that. The first one is a book called Zoo Animal Learning and Training. The second is the Fear Free Pets website, and they have several certifications available through Fear Free Pets for trainers, for pet sitters, for veterinarians and veterinary receptionists, assistants, and technicians, and for anybody working with animals. I think they have a fear-free groomers program and a fear-free shelters program as well. And I'm certified through the fear-free veterinary program as a fear-free trainer and through the fear-free equine program. And I'm working on some other certifications. So check out Fear Free Pets. And then Animal Training, Successful Animal Management Through Positive Reinforcement is another book that I refer to quite often. And then The Science of Animal Welfare, Understanding What Animals Want is an excellent book as well. And I get a lot of my information from that. If you have any questions and you want answers from me, you can reach me through my website at behavioreducation.org. Email me at BehaviorEducationLLC@gmail.com, or you can reach me via Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, or just comment here on YouTube, and I'm happy to dialogue with you. Until next time, everybody, please remember to always be kind and love your animals.